Hello world, Shelly here, and it's time for another episode of Foundation Fest, and today I'm checking out the brand new launch from Physicians Formula. This is their Diamond Perfector. Retails for $16.99 for 1 fluid ounce of product. Comes in only 6 different shades, but they do go from pretty fair to pretty deep. My guess is that if anything's missing, it's on the fairer end of the spectrum because this is the lightest shade. This is described as more than a foundation. This ultra-luxurious beauty balm is infused with skin-loving ingredients with 10 skin-perfecting benefits. They are going over the top. Enjoy lightweight buildable coverage with a flawless luminous finish while moisturizing, priming, concealing, brightening, diffusing pores and imperfections, and evening skin tone. I didn't count. Was that 10 things? Luxurious ingredients. They list mineral water. I don't know how luxurious that is. But vitamin E. Okay. And diamond dust. I guess that's the luxurious part. The diamond dust falls right before the carmine in the ingredient list at the very end. Meaning this is cruelty-free, but it is not vegan. Carmine is not vegan. It is talc-free and good for sensitive skin and breakout-prone skin. I've got it in the lightest shade, fair to light, so let's take a look at this one, swatched against a few others in my collection. Swatch time. First up is today's foundation from Physicians Formula, the Diamond Perfector BB Cream in shade Fair to Light. Second, I've got from Estee Lauder, the Double Wear Stay in Place in 1C1 Cool Bone. Third up is MAC Studio Sculpt in NW15. And last I've got from Wet n Wild, the Tinted Hydrator in Fair. I've already cleansed, moisturized, and sunscreened this 49-year-old face. I did not prime because they claim that one of the 10 things that this does is serve as a primer, so I did not prime my face. Let's take a look at consistency. She thick, she a little thick. She doesn't want to focus, but you get the idea. I am also going to be trying today their Diamond Blur Powder, another part of their 2024 launches. Look at this packaging. Whew. I'm just looking at it in my little playback. Oh, it's so pretty. It's so pretty. It's so pretty. It's so pretty. They have a really cool thing on the Physicians Formula website. I haven't seen this out in the wild yet, like at CVS or any place, Target. However, on the Physicians Formula website, you can actually do a bundle, which is what I did. I did a bundle of 5 different products that gives you a pretty deep discount on them. So if you missed the video where I went over the other products I got, one of which was the powder, check, it was earlier in the week. So let's start out. I've got a damp sponge for one side and a brush for the other side. Ooh, this might even be a little too light for me. Maybe I should have gone one step darker. We'll find out. It is a BB cream, and so with that, there is the assumption that you're not really going for super high coverage. They did say it's buildable, but, you know, BB creams are usually, unless you're talking about the Misha, they say this can be a concealer too, but unless you're talking about the Misha BB cream, which to me is major coverage, usually I'm assuming they're lighter coverage. This is pretty sheer with a damp sponge application. I don't really see much of anything. Let's see if it is a little bit less sheer with a brush. How did I already lose my brush? Here we go. Let's try some on the other side. I do think this is a bit too light for me. So I take back what I said about guessing that the lighter end of the spectrum was the one that was ignored. Now, one thing that has always been my experience with Physicians Formula for most of their products is they do tend to oxidize a little bit on me. So in the case of this particular one, that would be a good thing. Because it is a bit too light. But it's also winter, so I can make it work. I can make it work if I need to. Oof. Not sure how I like this sitting on my skin. Let's try to build up just a smidge. They called it buildable. I've used everything I had squeezed out there. Let's just squeeze a little bit more and see if we can get... I'm just going to use my fingertip here. And see if we can get a little bit of coverage. This is a lot more matte than I was anticipating. I would call this straight up matte. It looks kind of dry on me, which is true of most mattes. That's why I don't wear them all that often. Even though the early days of my channel talk about how much I prefer mattes, I had to change that preference because as my skin gets drier and drier, mattes look worse and worse on me. I'm not sure about this one. It's just kind of sitting on top of the skin over here. I guess it's blending in a little better with fingertips. Maybe this is just one that we have to go in with fingertips, and that is just the way it has to be. All right, let me zoom you guys in so you can see what I'm seeing. Yeah, it's kind of sitting on top of the skin. It is sitting like polka dot pores in my cheek area and my chin area. It actually looks pretty decent on my nose, which is a shocker. That's the place that it's typically going to look terrible if it's going to. I'm trying to blend out the area on my cheeks where it's giving me polka dot pores. Forehead just looks kind of dry. Like it's making all my micro wrinkles visible, which is what happens with mattes that are just not emollient enough for my dry texture of skin, if that makes sense. I've got dry skin in the truest form of the word. My skin doesn't produce much oil. I've also got dehydrated skin, so it's not plumped up by the moisture that's in my skin because I am chronically lacking moisture in my skin. So dry and dehydrated means I usually need a little bit of help from the products I'm putting on my face to plump things up, smooth things out, etc. And when something is this kind of a matte, it just kind of makes everything look more shriveled up, you know? I think at a conversational distance, it's fine. It's super lightweight. I can't even feel anything on my skin. It's not giving me a ton of coverage. Like I can still see redness breaking through on my chin and around my nostrils, which is pretty common for me. But it's pretty dry. I don't know how this is going to go for the dry skinned amongst us in terms of this hanging on for the rest of the day. All right, let's take a look at this powder. Comes with a cute little triangle puff. I prefer applying my loose powders with a brush. So the inside gives you the translucent powder underneath that little trapdoor, which I like for travel purposes. Let's grab a brush. BK Beauty. I was using my BK Beauty 101 for the foundation. This is the 102. Let's just get a little bit on here. It's a very finely milled powder. I'm going to start with the T-zone. And then I just take whatever's left and barely touch the skin, but, you know, just kind of blend in the surface. I've been not using powder for several years now. But I will say, the Jones Road powder got me into playing around with it again. Because that powder is so nice. And this one, I think, is doing a nice job of giving some blur, which, considering it's called the Diamond Blur Powder, I suppose that is exactly what we are expecting. It's not helping the other issues that this foundation or this BB cream is having, which is the polka dot pores. But sometimes powder and a little bit of light buffing can get the polka dot pores to go away. So I'm going to town, and we're hoping and wishing and praying. Let me go put the rest of my face on. Now I'll be right back. Back with the Physicians Formula Diamond Perfector. I'm pretty sure I forgot to show you guys what time it was. It's currently 5:34. It was about 4:30 when I finished putting the foundation on. Now it is completely dark outside. I'm getting a later start today than I had intended to, about an hour later than I had actually started, because when I sat down at my vanity, you know how when you're like scooching your chair in, and then you accidentally hit your knee on the corner of whatever's next to where you're scooching your chair in my case, the side of my Alex drawers on my vanity here. Oh, I hit my knee so hard that first I almost passed out, then I almost threw up, then I almost passed out even worse. Then literally it was 10 minutes of like heavy, like breathing, slowly trying to like get my wits about me. It hurt so bad that I'm like, oh, I should find out if I can walk. I didn't do any. Nothing's damaged. It's just gonna be a wicked, wicked bruise. But it took me about an hour to get myself collected, and I was gonna give up on the whole day, and I'm like, no, I need to film. We are in the new year. This is part of my plan. Oh, but yeah, it was one of those where like I still feel a little lightheaded, and it's been like an hour and a half now. So yeah, so that happens. So it'll be a short day-long wear test, but it'll be fine, and I won't really get you a daylight check-in because there's no daylight left, but it is what it is. We're kicking off the new year and keeping it real and imperfect, because, well, nothing I do is ever perfect, and I'm okay with that. I hope you're okay with it too. So let's talk about what's on the rest of my face. So the diamond powder definitely helped. I still feel like it's a little bit of polka dot pores going on my chin, but it did smooth things out quite a bit on my cheeks, and my forehead is a little bit smoother looking. It's not as dry looking, so this powder did help. Now, I don't know if this is just like the fact that I haven't used powders in a while, or if they're really getting better. But you guys know the Jones Road powders, there's a pink and a translucent. These are the ones that like got me into trying powder again. I mean, I haven't worn powder since several years now, let's just say, since lockdown. But this one's really nice, and it helped. The BB cream, I would probably have I wouldn't like it as much if I didn't get it to smooth out with the powder. So it did smooth out with the powder. Oh, look at that nice little gray hair that's just like chilling that I clearly missed when I was dyeing my hair. I also, now if you want to see me apply these products, you can see my eyeshadow look in Monday's video, and you can see me checking these guys out in Wednesday's video. The Physicians Formula Butter Glow Contour Wand, and the newest of the Butter Blush and Bronzers. And I also used their new Super Slim, I think they call it, version of their liquid liner, which is still the best liquid liner, in my opinion, of all of the liquid liners of life. Beautiful, loving it. I even did a little wing. They don't match. They never will. Again, embrace the imperfection, people. Just embrace it. Just embrace it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep, that's all of the Physicians Formula stuff on my lips. I've managed to lose it already, but I'm wearing the ColourPop. Here it is. The Ultra Blotted Lip in Still an Icon. My mascara is the Color Street Triflex. Forgot to curl my lashes, so all the heavy lifting's being done by the mascara. And I did use a smidgy of the Merit Flush Balm in Apres, because I just need a little more pink than the Physicians Formula was giving me. So that is on there, and my 24/7 waterline pencil from Urban Decay. I think that's everything on my face. I'm gonna go wear this for a bit. I will try and get you at least a different lighting to see, because it's so dark right now, and all I have is you're seeing this in just my studio lighting, like in my office here. So I'll see what I can do about getting some other lighting in the house somewhere, and I'll wear this until bedtime and I'll come back and we'll see how it went. 10:25 p.m. That puts us right around the 6-hour mark. Let's take a look at how the Physicians Formula Diamond Perfector has held up. Now, 6 hours is not the longest wear test, but I know what I need to know at this point. So I do think this would easily hold up to an 8-hour day. I don't think it's going to be much longer wear than that. Just based on, it has held blush, bronzer, highlight fairly well, although the contour is fading a bit. But it held on fairly well, I would say, to blush, bronzer, highlight. But areas, the nose, the chin, the forehead are kind of disintegrating as products do over time. So that's not a complaint. I think it's a, mid-range wearing. Not a long wear, but a mid-range wear for a BB cream. I'm not really expecting long wear out of a BB cream. My issue is that it's really drying on me. Like I'm already feeling really tight where like my skin feels like it's stretching whenever I make a facial expression, and it just sucked all the moisture out of me. Now it is winter. I have dry skin, like I mentioned. I also have dehydrated skin. So I need a product that's going to protect all the moisture that I already had in there and maybe even give me a little bit. Like, that's what I need. So I have a feeling this would be plenty good for anyone without dry skin. It did settle into my pores a bit. However, the powder did a pretty nice job of blurring that out. I do really like the smoothing of the powder as well. I don't think you have to set this with powder. I was feeling my face. It was not tacky or anything before I put the powder on. So I don't think the powder is a necessity, but I do think the powder helped it a little bit. Now, I do have larger pores right around my cheek area and on my chin, and those are the ones that gave it a little bit of trouble. So if you have larger pores, you might have a similar experience with it settling into them a little bit. But the powder did help that. So, I just think if you have dry skin, this is probably not going to be the one. For maturing skin, it's decent on texture, especially if you combine it with the powder. I didn't have issues with it settling into lines. It's just making some of my lines more obvious later in the day. Now that my skin is more dehydrated, it looks dry. It is a pretty matte finish, and I don't think that really changed much. Maybe there's a little luminosity on my forehead now, but the blush, bronzer, highlight, this bronzer does have some shimmer to it as well. So I don't think it's a very dewy look to it. It's primarily matte. So if that's what you're looking for and you don't have dry skin, you might get away with this one. But for dry, maturing skin, if I had to give a grade to the Diamond Perfector, I'm going to have to give it a C. It's wearable. I think it's wearable more in the short term for those of us with dry skin. That's my main complaint, the dry factor. I'm starting to feel itchy on my forehead, just that tight, dry feeling. So not enough hydration for me. Maybe it'll work for you. I don't think it I don't think it's a lost cause. As I choke on my own saliva, because that's how we're rolling into 2024. There you go. We're going to go C for the Physicians Formula Diamond Perfector. I'd go A for the powder, though. Powder's beautiful. And the packaging is, it's so pretty. There you have it. Another episode of Foundation Fest is in the books. If you like foundation reviews, if you have fun with this one, give me a thumbs up down below. Let me know in the comments, what would you like to see next? Other brands, other products, what has come out that I haven't picked up and reviewed yet? Let me know. I keep a running list. I buy stuff whenever I can. And as always, thanks a lot for taking some time out of your day to geek out over makeup with me. Check me out on patreon.com/geekoutofwater for behind the scenes content. And I appreciate your time. I hope you all have an awesome day or night wherever you are in the world. Take care of each other. Bye-bye.